Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, Bruce. How are you?
Good. A little happier outcome tonight. Another hard-fought two-game set with the Jets. Another
That was
split.
that was a really hard. I used the hard-fought term in my lead of my
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
story
well,
today because that really was a tense, hard-fought game. Excellent defensive effort by the Edmonton Oilers, Bruce. I thought 13 grade A chances for, 8 against in their 3-2 win. And as the game went on, Bruce, they did something that they haven't been able to do very much this year, which is hold a lead in the third, not choke it up and have the game tied or lose the game. They really got stronger, I thought, defensively as the game went along. In the last 15 minutes, last 17 minutes, actually, they only allowed one grade A scoring chance against a very, very good Winnipeg Jets team. That team really impresses me, Bruce. And I think there's, like, I'm not sure about the Flames yet, but there's 4 teams in this division that are really good. And the Jets are definitely one of them, and so are the Oilers, I'm going to say.
Flames got smoked tonight by the Canucks right on their home ice, 5-1.
Sweet. All right, Bruce, this is our 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers podcast. And because, this is a big win for the Oilers, they're now 10 wins? No, what is it? 10 and 8?
10 wins, 8 losses.
10 wins, 8 losses. 2 games above 500, so you got that nice little cushion there. Maybe extend that over the weekend. We'll do 2 good things each. Bruce, what's your first good thing?
Well, I'm going to go with the obvious and rate Conor Mcdavid for another superb game for starters, but also for achieving a milestone 500 career points in just 369 games, exactly tying Sidney Crosby, the previous generational superstar to come down the pike. And Conor made short work of that, making a terrific assist, handling the puck a couple times and making a splendid give and go with Jesse Puljujarvi. A similar play that we saw a couple games ago, but just hit him nicely on the break-in, and Puljujarvi got essentially a sort of a semi-breakaway, and he just buried it. Great shot, nice to see, top corner, and that was the 500th point, and then McDavid would go on to add a second assist. It's been a while since he scored a goal, but 2 more assists tonight, and he seems to be piling up a couple of points a night, one way or another, and usually well-earned points because he typically is in on 7 or 8 or 10 scoring chances along the way to earn his 2 points, and that was essentially the case tonight. He was involved in the center of things on the power play. His line got that huge goal early at even strength, and the Oilers led the entire rest of the way, so they led for 56 minutes, I think, of this one. It's about right. They scored 2 goals right away, and then they always let down. 3:45 of the first period to the end. The Jets were trailing. So
Connor McDavid, Bruce, is playing the best even strength hockey of his career, and I don't actually think it's that close to other periods in his career, mainly because he's cranked up his defensive intensity and his defensive awareness. Oilers coach Dave Tippett remarked on that earlier today. And what I would say is he's just making a real effort, never to cheat for the offense, never to get on the right, like being on the wrong side of the puck battle on the boards in the defensive zone, hoping to fish out that puck to get the break. He's not doing that this year. There's no flybys. He's on the right side of his man in the defensive zone. This was another game where he didn't make even one major mistake on a grade A chance against. It's funny because people are so I don't know, like official NHL plus minus. It's like if you ask me, kind of a crappy stat, especially in a short period of time to rate players. Maybe over a couple of years, I put some weight into it, but after like 18 games, if you're impressed by that, then you're doing stats wrong. But I think people are, and that's why they're talking about Draisaitl as the Selke candidate, when it's really McDavid who has come to the fore and really improved his defensive game this year. And this was another example. And Bruce, I think he may have found a sniper on his line A in Puljujärvi. That's, as Bob Stauffer mentioned, between periods, that's 4 goals in 6 games for Puljujärvi. And
Nice.
that was a replica kind of goal of the one he scored against Calgary, same play,
Yeah.
and just a beautiful snipe. And it's what the Oilers needed to beat the Jets, because the Jets were getting those great snipes last game to beat the Oilers. And nice
Yep.
to see Edmonton come back with it. Bruce, my good thing is Leon Draisaitl, and I have been critical of his defensive play now and then this year. Especially, he's been in a little bit of a slump recently. I think it mainly has to do with the line with Cahoon wasn't necessarily working very well, because I think Leon was trying to set up Cahoon so much. He was typically coming over the blue line and slowing down the play and looking for Cahoon or Yamamoto, kind of
Yeah.
trying to make the pass instead of driving with the puck. And tonight he came out and he was absolutely flying out there, man. He was like the great bull of heaven. And he first shift he pulverizes a Winnipeg Jet player with a nice check. But you could just see
Mm-hmm.
he was so determined to skate hard, and he really was. And then on the second shift, of course, he comes up the ice and just so fast, so powerful, and fires in that wicked shot. His effort, his great effort tonight was rewarded again. Good things happen when you're working hard, and the puck bounced as well in the power play in the second period where he scored that huge goal, Edmonton's third goal. Is that the third goal? Yeah, on the power play, the absolutely fantastic top shelf one timer where Mama keeps the cookies, Bruce. So
Mm-hmm.
Leon Draisaitl, best game in a long time, and fantastic hockey player when he's skating like that.
Did he ever roof that one? That was unusual. Like I thought when I saw the puck bouncing around up there, I thought, well, it can't be inside the net because when it hits the top of the net, there's only one place for it to go, and that's to go down. But I slowed it down, looked at a couple of replays, and what happened was his shot hit the back bar, and it bounced straight off the back bar and hit the front bar from behind, and then it bounced back into the top corner of the net. So it really rattled around in the very upper reaches of the goal cage for like 3 ricochets because he absolutely roofed it. It's like, stop this, Hellebuck, you know. And that was the only way they were going to beat Connor Hellebuck tonight was with perfect shots, and that's basically what they got on all 3 of their goals. And there was quite a few more of that. It sure looked like they were going to score, but the big goalie came up with some superb saves. Man, that guy's good.
He is good, isn't he? Mike Smith was good though, Bruce.
He was. He answered the
Yeah.
bell.
What's your second good thing?
I'm going to go with Kylo Yamamoto, who got 0 points in this game, but I absolutely loved his game. I was pretty critical of him the other night because he made some turnovers, and he probably was pretty critical of his own game because he came out with an extremely determined 2-way effort tonight. Loved his defensive play, just loved his defensive play. He was very, very good on the penalty kill. He had one PK in the first period where uh, he faded into the slot to get his stick on the play to disrupt it, and then the puck went over to the boards, and he just went over there and creamed his guy right into the boards, won the puck battle, and iced it. Uh, there was another play where it was a routine 3-on-3, and the Jets did, I think it was a crossover with the 2 guys up front, and the third guy kind of faded back to kind of trail the play and try and get the late pass in the slot. And Yamamoto was sort of aware of the guy and hung back with him and disrupted the pass. That would have been a deadly play if all 3 Oilers had gone hard back towards their own net, but he read it perfectly. And then he got the stick where it could do the most good and, tipped the puck out of danger. He had some good offensive chances and mostly by alertness. Uh, he was able to pull down one puck that kind of bounced high in the center zone. Leon fed him with a long stretch pass, and Yamamoto pulled the puck down, came over the blue line, and was able to control under pressure and make a feed to Cahoon in front for a close-in deflection. He had another chance of his own right in front of the net where he was able to. I think this one was on the penalty kill where he was able to cut
Yeah.
in and He made actually a great play to delay the puck, but unfortunately he wasn't able to get a shot off after that. Like he tried to pull it back and go upstairs, and he pulled it back, and the upstairs was there if he could have got a stick on the puck. But he was thinking, he was hustling, and as usual, he was putting up what I call the defensive stats. We used to talk about these, and I still call them any of the stats that start with the player without the puck, and there's three of them: hits, takeaways, block shots. And Yamamoto had one hit, probably that one on the penalty kill, one takeaway, two more block shots, which he now leads the NHL for all forwards in the NHL with 27 block shots, and it's no accident. He's in the lanes and he's fearless, and he's all over the puck, and on his good nights, and tonight was a very good night. He is really all over the puck, and he was a force. Say a game he scored no points. One of the reasons the Oilers gave up two in this game and not four or five or six was strong efforts by him, among others, that raised their game. He raised his game a long way from his fairly iffy performance the other night.
Yeah, the player on that one break where he kind of fanned on it and didn't get off the shot. That was a Magic Johnson to James Worthy alley oop pass from Chris
Mm-hmm.
Russell. And my second good thing is Chris Russell and Adam Larson. So I wouldn't have. I think after scoring, Winnipeg scored 6 goals against the Oilers. That Dave
Yeah.
Tippett thought it's Chris Russell time. We need the we need the steady back. This worked once earlier this year actually,
Mm-hmm.
where he had inserted Russell when the Oilers had been really shaky on defense. And I have to admit that I was probably, well, not as skeptical as every Oilers fan, because there's some that just erupt in displeasure about all things Chris Russell. But I was not bullish about the prospect of seeing Larson and Russell together, if I'm completely honest. I didn't think it was going to work very well. And the first shift, they went out there and Larson gave away the puck and they couldn't get it out. And I'm thinking, like, how are they going to get through this game against this big, talented Winnipeg team with these two guys on the ice? But Bruce, I thought, especially as the game went along, they were really solid defensively. They gave up very, very little in their own end. And on the Draisaitl goal, it was kicked off with a very sharp outlet pass by Chris Russell.
Mm-hmm.
Larson did make a mistake where he screened the goalie a little bit and went in off his skate, the first Winnipeg power play goal. But other than that, Adam Larson, I just thought was just such a strong game. And kind of culminating in the last shift of the game where he flattens, I think, both Shifley and Blake Wheeler with humongous hits. Adam Larson is, I think, an underrated hockey player. I think Russell should play like every second game. He does seem to me a step slower, and I thought we saw that late in the game. A guy kind of got around into the outside, something that I don't think would have happened with Chris Russell 2 years ago.
He
But
sure got his stick in the passing lane 3 or 4 times, Russell. It looked like a
oh,
dangerous cross slot pass, and he was just in a position to get a stick on it and just tip it into the corner. Not necessarily like a hero play, but to disrupt the point of attack, and that's really his specialty.
it is. And Larson's specialty is the rough stuff, and he was hammering him hard. He's the answer to Neil Pionk for the Oilers. I bet you the Jets fans don't like Adam Larson very much. Or the Jets players don't like Adam Larson very much, because
Oh,
he was the stereotypical hard to play against shutdown defenseman, especially as the game wore on. So that's my second good thing.
5 hits and 5 block shots for Larson to lead the team in both categories. In fact, he led the entire game in both. Oh, wait a minute. No.
4 hits, wasn't it? Oh
Bolu
no, five hits. You're right.
Had 8 hits for the Jets, so he
Yeah.
just led the Oilers in block shots. And just give me half a shake here. I'm pretty sure he leads the entire NHL in block shots, and he does with 55. Alec Martinez 50, Calvin DeHaan 40. So there's some real separation there between first and third. Strange, man. I mean, 2 years ago, I think it was Chris Russell led the league. Last year it was Oscar Kleppbaum. This year, so far, it's Adam Larson. 3 different Oilers.
Yeah,
So
I don't know why. Like, there's some people that would trade Larson now or bench him. Like, I read comments like that, and of course, every player has their fans and the people who don't like them. But I honestly don't really get it with Larson. I think he's such a fine defensive defenseman and moves the puck okay. That, and I can assure you of one thing:
hmm
Dave Tippett is not taking Adam Larson out of the lineup, Bruce.
not
There's no,
anytime soon.
there's no way that's happening.
Got to
And
have at least one or two guys that are tough to play against, and Larson checks that box with indelible ink.
what's your bad thing?
I'm going to go with the 3-2 goal early in the third. Last time the Oilers won 3-2 about a week ago in Ottawa, and I criticized the goal at the exact same juncture of the game where they had 3-1 going into the third, and they gave one up right away in the third and then hung on the rest of the way. And this one wasn't quite as egregious as that clear-cut breakaway for Evgeny Davidov was last week. But it was a 4-on-4 where the Oilers had, well, they had a power play and it was sloppy and they wound up giving up a near breakaway and Nuge chopped the guy, big guy, Lowry. And so it went to 4-on-4. So because they just used their power play, they didn't go with either McDavid or Draisaitl. And so they wound up with this oddball combination of Haas and Ennis in the 4-on-4. And Barry was out there too, and there were like these little guys for the Oilers, and Winnipeg was just winning the battles, winning the races, and the Oilers started running around. And I don't know what happened to Ennis. Like he was checking somebody, and then all of a sudden he was nowhere. Like there was nobody around him. And Haas chased his guy to the boards, and then the puck came over to Neil Pionk, who was basically the counterpart to Ennis. He also had nobody around him, but the big difference was he was in the middle of the ice and he had the puck. And Ennis was just sort of a distant bystander, about 40 feet away, watching as Pionk wound up and just absolutely rifled a slap shot, clean slap shot from the middle of the ice that bulged the twine. And Mike Smith, I thought he was a little deep in his net on that one. Like I thought he maybe could have at least got out to the top of his crease, but it was an absolute rocket and just undefended.
Did he ever
So,
crush that shot?
oh man.
I don't know if Haas, like we've in our preliminary scoring chance marks, you're going over them again, but
Mhm.
I did think Haas probably like might have made it, but he was kind of sticking with his man. It was just Annis was
Right.
what was he doing? So maybe it's not even Haas's fault at all, like because he kind of was doing the right thing. That's what you're supposed to do on 4-on-4, and Annis kind of got lost in the mix there. So, but yeah, that
Well, it
was
was an
how
odd
long did Pionk
combination
have?
because they're not line mates, they
No.
I would say they've never played together before, those two guys.
Yeah, they're
And
really fast, so that's what he was
they're
thinking. Like, get a
small and
couple
quick
fast
and yeah.
guys. Yeah, put Puljujärvi out there, or was he just on the power play? I can't remember. Um, yeah, not a great goal against Bruce. And Barry screened the goalie. He was part of the drive-by screen of it shot that hard that you only see after it's in the air.
hmm
You're not going to save that one very often. That was a very tough. That was like a Sheldon Surrey grade slap shot from the point.
Yeah, it was
And
a rocket.
that Pionk ever a good player? I mean, I can hate him because he's an aggravating player who hits hard, and that hit on Turris was a world class legal hit. It was a fantastic hit. But what a great trade that
Oh,
uh, they made, getting rid of. Well, I always thought Trouba was a very good player in Winnipeg, but
hmm
apparently he's not playing that well in New York. I'm not sure.
And now he's hurt.
Maybe it's just because his contract's so big. Everyone, the
Yeah.
expectations go high. But Pionk's a very solid player for the Winnipeg Jets. They made a good deal there.
Well, they got for Truba, they got Pionk and a first round pick, which became Billy Heinola, who they're very, very high on. That's the guy that they're saying is the next living, breathing little general, Lars Erik Sjoberg style of
Uh huh.
player. And he almost made the team again. I think he's right on the cusp of the team. He may be on the taxi squad, but we haven't seen him. But he's going to be there, and he's going to be there for a few years. Well, they got Pionk at $3 million a year, or in that territory, whereas the Rangers are paying Trouba $8 million a year. And Pionk has outscored Trouba since the trade. Pionk's had more points than Trouba. He's had better stats. Like he's been the better player for $5 million less. Plus, I got the first round pick. I mean, that's just a fantastic trade.
Yeah, Pionk's 25 years old.
Yeah.
13 points in 16 games.
Mm-hmm.
That's what.
And he had a good year last year. I got him in my keeper league. I know this guy a little bit. He's real good.
Bruce, I had a hard time picking a bad thing, but because there wasn't a lot that went wrong in that game. It was a good game, and the Oilers played very well. I didn't like Tippett breaking up what I call the nitty gritty dirt line of Jujhar Khaira, Tyler Ennis, and Josh Archibald, and it's just a simple thing. When you have players that are going and finally going, right? You finally have Jujhar Khaira going. You finally have him playing well. Tyler Ennis was off to a pretty weak start of the year. He's going. So you have these players, they're succeeding in a really crucial role for the Oilers on the third line. It's not broke, don't fix it. Why break it up? You could have put in, if you needed to send a message to Dominic Cahoon. Now, I guess maybe Tyler Ennis wants to be rewarded. Maybe he wants to move up, and maybe that makes sense because he's been playing so well. He has been playing well. But I didn't, he made a very nice pass to Draisaitl, cross seam saucer pass. So maybe that worked. Maybe I'm wrong here. Could be. But I just, as a general rule, I'm not loving that. And I think they could have put in Joachim Nygaard if they wanted to send a message to Cahoon. There was other options that they could have resorted to. So when you have a good line, and this is the point I've made many times before on another line, which will not be named tonight, but don't break it up. And so that's my bad thing.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Pionk, 58 points plus 11. Trouba, 30 points minus 12 since the trade. So almost double, 2-1. Plus the pick, plus the $5 million.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
Yeah.
Talk about, you don't win. That's like
Rangers.
That's not just killing it. That's annihilating
Rangers
it.
for you.
Yeah. Good on the Rangers. They're a pretty good team, though, the Rangers. When they got that. How's Lafreniere doing? Did he make the team?
He's got 1 point, 14 games.
Oh, geez.
Shocking. 1 goal. Overtime winner. Then you think once he got that, he was going to break out. Nope, he's just not getting it done.
And they got that Kako. He's not doing well. Of course, it took Puljujarvi this long to get going. Maybe Kako will be the same.
Yeah. No knowing, right? Of course. But
yeah. What's your number?
My number is 10. And people are probably surprised. Anybody who follows me on Twitter, I think I had 2 tweets during the game, and they were both berating the officials for missed calls. And I probably were expecting my bad thing to also be berating the officials. But I saved it for my number 10. That's the number of penalty minutes that I banked that the refs missed on poor high sticking calls, just high sticking, in the game, and 10 minutes that went against the Oilers and for Winnipeg. Darnell Nurse took 2 in a row in the first period where his stick hit a Winnipeg guy's stick, and that stick hit the Winnipeg guy in the face. One of them was Kyle Connor. Nurse gave him a little bit of a shot, and Connor's stick came up and bopped himself on the face. And Nurse got 2 minutes for that. I mean, borderline, you might have called that for, it was just a bit of a random shot by Nurse, but it was hockey. I mean, go let him play a little bit. The second one was just ridiculous. Andrew Kopp had Nurse's stick under his arm, and while they were battling, Kopp's stick came up and he whanged, I think it was Ehlers, in the head with it. The ref calls Nurse for high sticking, and Nurse's stick is actually being held by Kopp below waist level. It's like, what are you looking at, Mr. Referee? Like, what are you looking at? So and that one cost him the 2-1 goal, and I was angry at that point because that was like 3 power plays in a row for Winnipeg. All of them were marginal at best. They scored on the third one to get back in the game that Edmonton had largely outplayed them to that point. So as a fan, that was one of those kind of injustices. Anyway, then in the second period, Jujhar Khaira and Nugent Hopkins on the shorthanded play, and Nuge makes a great pass, and Kara tries to jam it home from close range, and a jet stick comes up, hits Kara in the face, and cuts him. Automatic 4-minute penalty, or it would be if both refs weren't. I didn't see anything. And then in the third period, it happened again. Adam Larson got clubbed over the head by Tucker Pullman. Just bong. And missed that one. Anyway, finally, they got the last one. That was Ehlers. He bopped I can't remember which Oiler it was, on the top of the noggin with 3 minutes left. Really stupid penalty. Yeah, really stupid penalty. But maybe at that point, he's thinking, we can just chop away at any Oilers we want because they're not going to call anything. So at least they got that one. But that was after 4 missed calls amounting to what would have been 5 minor penalties, including what would be an automatic double minor, all missed, all the same way. And at the same time, at the end of the night, the Oilers had more power plays than the Jets, and there were a couple chintzy ones called the other way. But the high sticking infractions were just, it was like open season out there. Nobody knew who was holding whose stick, or, you know. And so they called too many penalties in this game. I don't think it really helped the flow of the game, but those kind of stood out as the more egregious of the poor calls. So I'll go with the 10.
I was kind of just left numb by it all. Like, it's just like, this is the NHL right now. So
yeah. Well, it's the first time, I think this is the first time all year, David, I've said anything really nasty about the refs. I mean, usually it kind of evens out, and it's a tough job, and they don't get them all right, and you don't expect them to get them all right. But when there's a whole string of them, and they all keep seeming to go the same way, that's when my blood gets up a little bit. So the air was pretty blue in the McCurdy living room there in the first period in particular.
Well, you've calmed down considerably because you just gave a very sober recitation of their.
I still think they blew the calls, but they kind of evened it up, and the Oilers got the win. So I'm a lot calmer than I was then.
Yeah, that's right. In the moment, you don't know how it's going to turn out. So it's harrowing. My number is 8. Conor McDavid was in on major contributions to 9 grade A scoring chances this game, Bruce, which is such a high number, but it's not unusual for Conor McDavid this year. He seems like he's always in on, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Like, it's just routine for him in this. We should enjoy this, right? We should enjoy what we're seeing now with McDavid, because this is a special treat for the fans of any team to have such a player. So he had 9 grade A chances this game. 8 of them came on the power play. And they tended to come. There was some unbelievable flurries where he would was involved in, and so some of them. Alrighty, we are back. We had a little technical difficulty there, and I was just going on. We're almost at the end of the podcast. We'll just finish up quickly here, Bruce. I was just saying Conor McDavid, my number was is 9, but 1 grade A scoring chance contribution for McDavid at even strength, 8 on the power play, and he was very, very dangerous. The power play got better as the game went on. Man, early on it was anemic. Why don't we just sign off now, Bruce? And unless you have any final thoughts or anything you'd like to add?
Well, other than it's nice to end properly and say goodnight to people, as opposed to having Skype just drop off the face of the earth like it just did there on my screen. It just went away. So
indeed,
we'll splice these pieces together, and thank people for their patience, and thank you for listening.
Always good to talk to you, Bruce. Thanks everyone for listening. And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.